We've got another react with my mom again, and we're going to be taking a look at 25 common myths about the United States that simply aren't true. So things we've been told about America, or you might have been told, and they're basically just going to debunk it, right?
Well, I only get told them by you.
Yeah, but stuff that you see in the media, on the internet,
okay.
just any kind of like stereotypes or whatever, we're going to go through them all.
What we think.
And you're probably going to learn some new things as well.
Oh, okay.
So, let's see.
Let's begin with a really common thought. Americans are ignorant about the world.
Right.
Americans are held to an unrealistic standard. Since the rest of the world watch our movies and listen to our music, they know a lot about our country. But let's be honest, they never studied it.
No.
People actually complain that Americans don't even know that Czechoslovakia doesn't exist anymore. But neither does half the United Kingdom, and they're on the same continent.
What?
Yeah, that's true. So it's a common stereotype that Americans don't know geography.
Yeah.
Right? They only know their own country. That's a stereotype.
You're right.
But he's saying like people go at Americans saying like, oh, they don't know that Czechoslovakia isn't a country anymore. I bet you don't even know what that is.
I know what Czech. I didn't know it weren't a country.
Yeah, it's not a country no more.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, where's it gone?
But that's what he's saying. Even half the people in the UK don't know it's not a country no more.
No, what do you mean? It's not a country.
I
It's
don't
still
know.
there, though, isn't it?
No, it's not a country no more.
Yeah, but it's still there.
It's probably something else.
How can you change it? You can't change it like that.
I don't know.
It turns out that all of us are pretty bad at geography.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of Americans that even teach me about Europe and stuff. Like, it's just, the thing is with the stereotype, it's just what you see on the internet. So you see the funny clips of like stupid people saying stupid things, right?
Right.
But loads of people in America, they know their geography.
I think America would be better at it. However, considering another common thought is that America spends its days spying on everyone. And that's true. But who doesn't?
Like nosy neighbours
Germ-
or something.
No, so like more like the government spying, like tapping into the phones. But that's also wrong because America's not like the UK. The UK, there's a camera on every road.
Yes.
Loads, multiple.
Yes.
And when I tell Americans that, they're blown away because there's not that many street cameras.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can pick up everything.
In the UK, you can't go anywhere outside without being on camera.
No, they will find you.
Yeah, you're on camera everywhere.
Germany, France, Switzerland, Japan, Iceland, and all the rest of us spy on each other and ourselves.
Yeah.
Moving on,
everyone does.
America has been called racist. Please don't take this the wrong way. Racism definitely exists.
Everywhere.
And it makes the news. But you know what else? America also has a vicious media. And all of the world watches it.
Right.
Sometimes more than their own media.
Yeah.
So when something super bad
true.
happens in other countries, it might not even make the back page.
See, that is true. America is in the limelight for everything.
Yeah. I don't think our media, we don't, well, me personally, I don't watch the news and don't get the papers. I don't go, and I think I believe that America is really hung up on the news. Like they have the news on in shops and things like that.
Well, I'm not too sure, but I just know that like America is the entertainment center. So every single other country wants to be nosy on America. Like we watch all their TV, all their shows, we know all their celebrities. So we're more likely, like every other country that isn't even America, will keep eyes on America because I bet your favorite celebrities are American.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like you want to know what they're doing. So like So it's just a sense of like America's always in the news. But that's because everyone's got eyes on them.
Next, it's a common misconception that Americans don't use public transport. While it's
Right.
true that we use cars a lot, many regions in America have great public transport. Or at least just as good as Europe.
I hate.
Besides, what good is a
I
train
can't
if
stand
nobody
it.
can afford
Can't
it?
stand it.
We're looking at you, UK.
Wait, what?
Moving on.
What is that?
America can
Can't
afford
afford
it.
a train.
Just as good as Europe. Besides, what good is a train if nobody can afford it? We're looking at you, UK.
Ah, train prices. Yeah,
no.
he's looking at us.
I thought I wanted...
Yeah, no, he's looking at us, UK. What is you thinking?
We can't afford it.
They are quite
No,
pricey.
I'm not getting on a train.
No.
I'd rather walk.
Let me just tell you right now. So my mate came down to my house, which was like a 2-hour train journey, and it cost him £100, which is like $130.
Ridiculous.
So I don't know. I don't know. You guys could go. I don't know the American train prices, but that's the UK price.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Moving on. America does / has / is fill in the blank. America is far from being a unified entity. Each state has its own laws, cultures, and quirks.
Right.
Some states have the death penalty.
Man.
Some don't.
That's crazy.
Some have strict gun laws, and some don't.
Well, that's the way I see it now. Is he's basically saying every single state in America is different.
Right,
The way I see America is like every single state is like its own country, and they're all connected.
Yeah, I know they've got different like laws.
Yeah.
I watched that on telly, so I know that some people have different.
Yeah, each state is so different from another.
Some have free college. Some don't. Some have tax, and yeah, some don't. So just like you can't say Europe is so-and-so, you can't say the same about the US.
Right, it's all different.
As an additional note, the states are far more independent than many of us realize. In fact, every state even has its own military, known as the Guard.
See, that blew my mind.
Wow.
Yeah, so I seen online
Yeah.
that like it was like last year. So Texas was deploying their military against America or something. I don't know what it was about. I don't know.
Is it just because it's so big on scale?
Yeah, it's massive. So like each state can they have their own military for their each state, and they control it.
What's the next big country then?
What in terms of what?
In terms of what's the next one down from America?
Well, we're talking like money wise, like powerful wise, China.
So would they have their own like military and stuff then?
I don't really. To be fair, I don't really know much about China. They like to keep everything in. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
No, America is massive.
Furthermore, some states pass legislation that directly contradicts the federal government. This is because in the US, the federal government is not the highest authority, the states are.
Interesting.
To further establish the fact that America isn't a single entity, many believe that Americans only speak one language. But that's no different from the rest of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to France? Or the UK? Or
No, but they don't know. Americans speak a lot of like Spanish and that.
Do
Very,
they?
yeah, so I've learned recently, like especially like in Florida, there's places where they like where you walk by someone, you just only hear Spanish.
Yeah, but I suppose that's because they've got a lot of Hispanic.
Yeah, they're near Mexico
culture.
and that.
Yeah,
and
Mexico.
no, a lot of Spanish places. There's
Yeah.
a lot of restaurants where you can only order in Spanish.
What, in America?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they've been telling me. So like, there's places where you. Yeah, so
that's
in
interesting.
mainly in like the south part of America, like New Mexico and.
Can you imagine
Texas.
if we had that over here?
No, we'll be screwed. No, I'm pretty sure most people in the UK don't know another language.
Italy, or how about China? Most of them only speak one language too.
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, over 20% of the US is bilingual. Now,
There we go,
That's
20%.
a lot.
Yeah, 20% is bilingual.
let's talk about the military, because people outside the US will preach that America's military does, again, fill in the blank.
There's
Nobody is
everything.
naive enough to think that the US doesn't have selfish interests in mind when it invades a country. There isn't a nation on earth that would do that selflessly. But whenever the bad goes down, it's
Oh, we don't know anything about invading countries. It's the UK.
What do you mean?
Well, we took over 70% of the world. He's talking about how like people see America
Yeah.
invading countries
Yeah.
for their own reasons,
Yeah.
and we live in the UK.
Yeah.
We took over 70% of the whole world.
Did we?
Do you know? Yeah, we
I don't know.
we invaded everyone.
Oh yeah.
We invaded absolutely everyone. And do you
Yeah.
know what? Right?
The
Do you kn-
Vikings.
Well, yeah, we won't go back into the Vikings, Romans, the last video. But you know, in London,
Yeah.
our museum,
Yeah.
most of the artifacts aren't ours. We stole them from other countries.
We're just so bad, aren't we? We're just
So-
so bad.
So our museum,
Yeah.
we have like artifacts from Egypt and other
And
countries,
we've just stolen.
and they want them back.
We'll give it. Yeah.
No, they want them back. We're saying no.
They ought to take them back.
just as common for other countries to complain that America
What's
should
wrong?
do something.
No.
On a more or less lighter note,
Spit it out.
Americans are fat.
Oh.
The whole world is getting there though. Like our obesity levels is the same as America. It's just fast food.
Yeah, I think because of the scale of America and the well, we're just tiny, aren't we?
Yeah.
So if we was to put the camera on us and see our population, it's probably just the same as America.
Yeah, really is.
In the UK lately, there are even scandals because obese patients are getting turned down for surgery.
What?
Yes, America does have an obesity problem. But not all citizens are involved in it. I am. A big part of the United States is fairly health conscious and is consistently working to help the overweight population better their lives. Thanks, healthy people.
Oh, bless him.
Listen, I think the stereotype of like Americans being fat is just because of like what we see on TV. So we always see like The Simpsons. You got Homer Simpson and like, you know, like the movies, they love like the funny fat guy. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we always see cheeseburgers and fast food.
They do eat well in America.
Oh, yeah, there's loads of
portion sizes are a lot bigger than our sizes.
Well, yeah.
Aren't they?
Yep.
And to be honest, if I move to America, I'm eating that food.
Well, yeah, you may as well.
I am eating that food.
But what's a good thing to know as well is like, I've never seen so many like fit people in America.
Yeah, exactly.
Like fitness, people going for jogs.
We don't get that over here.
No.
Very random.
No.
In fact, we will see a jogger and we're like, what? Why are you doing that? Oh, I ain't got time for that. But in America, there is a lot of people.
There's a lot of people jogging, yeah, and I see it in like vlogs. Like I will see like a random vlog.
Yeah.
And I'll see just loads of people just jogging.
Yeah.
You don't see that in the UK.
No, and roller skating as well.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a stereotype of Americans being fat, but they're also very healthy and fit.
Yeah.
So it just depends what kind of...
Same as us.
Yeah, yeah.
And while we aren't perfect, many complain that America is worse than other developed nations in, well, everything.
In what?
There are many statistics, child mortality, literacy, etc., where the US falls behind countries like Norway and Iceland. But those statistics are based on averages. In Norway, most of the 5 million inhabitants are rich, white, and Norwegian.
Yeah, Norway's
If you took a similar sample of rich white Americans in the US, you would find that the statistics are almost exactly the same. The fact
See, that is true. Like, people will say, like, they'll look at the stats and they'll be surprised, like, Norway, whatever. But Norway is a very rich country. You know that, right?
No.
They're just very rich.
I'm not very good on geography.
No, yeah. So the only reason why I know that is because, like, on my streams, I had people from Norway.
Oh, really?
And just Norway. I forgot what it is, but they had, like, an oil boom and, like, they gave, I don't know, but they got money.
Right.
They got most of the population rich.
is that the US is hugely diverse, and American experience is completely different with and without money.
Right.
Translation: the problem isn't healthcare or education, it's economic inequality, almost exclusively. And speaking of inequality,
I don't know what that means. I know you don't know what that means. Next.
Many make the simple but powerful assumption that America just isn't safe. This is usually what foreign citizens say until they actually come here.
Right.
By this same logic, Paris, Brussels, London, Madrid, and almost every other city in Europe is unsafe as well.
Oh. Paris is very unsafe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
Paris.
I've been Paris.
Every single year they have like a terrorist attack.
Oh, really?
Every single year there's riots. Literally a week ago, I seen on the internet, there was like this crypto CEO daughter getting kidnapped in Paris.
But it's like London's the same though, isn't it?
A lot of stabbings, a lot of theft.
London's got a lot of crime.
Yeah. So like it's not America that's got all the crime.
No.
Everywhere has crime.
I think America has they go like one above on crime, don't they?
What do you mean?
Or like multiple murders and stuff like that.
Well, that's only because like they do have guns.
Yeah.
Like if you imagine the UK population with guns.
Oh gosh.
Would all be dead.
Oh yeah.
Would all be dead. I think it would be worse than the UK.
That would be crazy,
America.
Yeah.
Would all be dead.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yes, there are guns.
But yeah, no, I know what you're saying though. But I think that's just because of how big America is and entertainment. But you know how you said there's a lot of murders? We think that because the serial killers are all documented. It's Netflix documentaries, movies about it.
And they're my favourite, and I watch them all the time. So that's where I'm getting my knowledge from.
So yeah, there is more like serial killers.
Well, it isn't knowledge.
But that's because America's population is massive and it's big. Yeah. So if you take like another big country, like let's say Russia, yeah, I bet you there's loads there.
Well,
we just don't document.
I don't watch Russian crime TV.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But if we did,
oh yeah,
there'll probably be loads. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Most Americans have never seen or heard a gun being fired.
Oh, interesting.
In fact, most Swiss citizens are much more familiar with gunfire than us Americans.
Oh, I bet you didn't know that.
I've been lied to all this time.
No, I bet you didn't know that. You know, in Switzerland, you're allowed guns.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Why?
And that's what it's saying.
I thought it was only America that was allowed guns.
See, that's the myth. Like, that's just because America's always in the limelight.
Yeah.
Switzerland, you're allowed guns.
And it's our neighbours, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's just.
And we only know.
We just like American content. The whole world does.
Yeah, we do.
All this being said, so far, people still expect all Americans to relish in a life of our stereotypes: guns, fast food, and freedom. What I'm saying is, a lot of the world looks at America as overly patriotic.
Right.
But here's an honest question: have you ever met a Russian, Australian, a proud member of the UK? There's no shame in having pride in your country.
The proud member of the UK.
It's not me.
Well, there's not many, and if you see someone that's proud in the UK, they're normally bold, big, in the pub, and racist.
Yeah. What's it to be proud of? I know, I understand like little bits and bobs, but
I think it's just gone downhill.
Yeah.
It's just that's not just us. Like a lot of people in the UK, like even when I speak to my friends and whatnot, they want to leave the UK.
Listen, if you'd have asked me this 20 years ago, I would have said yes.
Oh, really?
Love it. So proud of the UK. I'm very proud to be British.
It's just gone down.
Yeah. No.
That's it.
Yeah.
Us Americans are definitely patriotic, but so is the rest of the world, as they should be. It's not a crime to be proud of where you came from.
It would be nice to be patriotic,
though. They should be, yeah.
It would be nice.
It doesn't stop others from thinking we only complain and boast about America whenever we travel abroad. This is largely anecdotal. In America, Americans like to complain just like the rest of us.
Oh, look at us. We were just sat here complaining about the UK. So we're the same.
I'm always complaining.
Only a few of them ever even leave the country, so you're meeting an unrepresentative sample. But in their defense, many times, they're right. Yes, this can hit hard in the pride spot, but maybe Europeans could stand to smile a bit more, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. You don't see anyone smiling.
No, we don't want to. We've had this conversation before. We don't like to put ourselves out of our comfort zone. We don't like to say hello or smile.
Nah.
We're just going from A to B with our blinkers on, and that's it.
We just stay in our own bubble.
Own bubble,
and our family bubble. That's it.
That's it. That's
pretty much it.
No. Okay, fine. Back to the apathetic, leave me alone face. By the way, that part was written for our European representative, by our European representative. I love all of you. Anyways, statistics viewed by outsiders show that the U.S. is lagging behind. Similar to topics we've already discussed, there's another factor that we have to take into account: reporting. Every nation reports its own statistics. This means that making statistical comparisons between two developed nations, like the US and the UK, is an exercise in futility. The data is just too close and won't reveal much except that the US counts people one way and the US counts them another.
Right.
That still doesn't make this misconception true. Americans are fake. Here's the thing. In Europe, citizens are almost proud of the fact that they're really standoffish. But once you get to know them, they're your friend for life.
That is true. That is true. But I would rather the American way. So, like, you got two different ways, right? In the UK, it's very, very hard to make new friends.
Yes.
But when you do make a new friend, you're normally friends for life.
I think it's very hard to trust, and it's very hard to trust people. But once I've trusted you, then it's a long life.
Yeah, and then
friendship.
You're so good.
That's
it's
it.
like family.
Yeah.
Whereas like in America, totally different. Make friends very easily. Big friendship groups. Maybe go in and out.
Yeah.
But they just friendly with everyone.
Yeah, you see, I would struggle with that.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't think you would.
No, I think I would. I speak to a lot of people and I get on with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But to have that friend connection, I have to, it has to be
really?
trust, and I've only got time for one.
Newsflash. Once you get to know an American, they'll also be your friend for life.
Oh, okay.
The thing is, though,
He's
they
got
don't use this as an excuse to be a jerk in the beginning. This list sounds great coming from an American. I was totally the one who should have read this one, but I digress. On a totally different but very popular misconception, Americans are the only ones who call football soccer. Actually, a lot of the world calls it soccer. Even parts of Ireland still call it soccer.
Oh, really?
Oh, what do I mean by still? I'm glad you asked. It was actually the British who coined the term soccer.
Oh, wait, yeah, so...
What?
No, yeah. So,
Really?
Yeah, so we actually started first. It was because it was called association football or something.
Right.
So it was called soccer.
Well, I've never heard that before.
And then we changed it to football.
Oh.
So
I
so
see.
Americans got soccer. So we started
So we started it.
we started it called soccer. Then
They
they just America was just like, we ain't changing the name of it.
No. Fair play.
The word soccer is an abbreviation of association
Yeah.
and first appeared in universities in the 1880s, sometimes using the variant spelled soccer with a K. The word is sometimes credited to Charles Redford Brown, an Oxford University student said to have been fond of shortened forms such as breakers for breakfast and rugger for rugby football. Britain actually started using the word football in the late 20th century, possibly because people incorrectly saw it as an Americanism.
Ah.
This next one, Tristan couldn't believe. Could you not?
No.
I'm learning something. To our American viewers, did you know that people in Europe make fun of you for using air conditioning? Why do they need it? Why don't they just leave the window open? Mosquitoes?
Wait, we made fun of him?
No, we don't make fun of him.
Nah, if not, we're jealous.
We're jealous of you.
I know.
At least in Florida. But here's why they might be joining us soon. During the 2003 European heatwave, 70,000 people died. This was in large part due to the...
See, that's the thing. That don't surprise me, you know?
Really?
That don't surprise me. Think about heat waves in the UK.
Yeah.
You can't breathe inside.
Oh no, yes, but there's not many of them, and there's not when they're a heat
No.
wave. I can't.
No, but
What year did he say the heat wave?
Mosquitoes?
2023, I
Florida.
think.
But here's why they might be joining us soon. During the 2003 European heatwave...
Oh, 2003.
2003.
Yeah.
Right.
So many years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
70,000 people died.
Wow. That's...
No, but that is understandable because like our houses are designed to keep heat in.
Yeah.
Right. So when it does get hot, which is not long,
Yeah.
but when it does, inside you can't breathe. So now pretend you're 70 years old and you're struggling to breathe anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's gonna knock you out.
Absolutely, but I think we was not like bushfires and stuff like that. We had a lot of forest fires.
Did we?
Yeah, I think we did. I think Sherwood Forest, I'm sure they had something.
Oh, really?
But we're not equipped
No, we're
to
not.
tackle anything like that.
No, because it's not normal.
It's not normal.
Yeah,
It's not normal. But no, absolutely, we are so jealous of air conditioning.
Yeah, it is nice. See, I got mine and I love putting it
I
on.
would love that. I mean,
So
we
good.
get these fans, which
Don't work.
They're terrible.
They just blow the hot air out. They don't do anything.
They're terrible. Absolutely. They make you more hotter.
Honestly,
More hotter.
this summer heat wave, if we
Yeah.
have one, you're gonna have to get an AC.
I don't need one because that is coming home with me.
wave, 70,000 people died. This was
Mad.
in large part due to the fact that European homes and buildings are not typically equipped with air conditioning.
Yeah.
Nope.
While they laugh at the Americans for this, hotter summers are going to force them to take appropriate measures, especially since children and the elderly are very susceptible.
Yeah.
Again, I stand by mosquitoes. I'm not opening my window in the summer. Winter, absolutely, open windows. Moving into the top 9, that's a weird number. Top 9. Many parts of the world accuse the United States of accounting for 25% of the world's carbon emissions. Not so nice. But it also accounts for 25% of the world's economic activity. The truth is that several nations, including countries like Canada, have higher per capita emissions than the US. Next, let's talk about how the world thinks Americans are ruining English. Actually, both British English and American English have diverged from a common 16th century ancestral standard.
We don't talk like Shakespeare no more.
No.
It's changed.
Absolutely.
And in some ways, American English is closer to the original than British English. For example, American English has, for the most part, retained the language's rotosity, pronunciation of the R in words like hard, while British has, for the most part, dropped it.
Say hard.
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 Are we not saying the R?
No, I don't.
Hard.
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 Lard.
Lard. Hard. Dunno.
Furthermore, this shift in British English happened around the time of the American Revolution when wealthier Londoners wanted to distinguish themselves from the lower classes. This is only one example, but it goes to show that British English is not an unchanging standard any more than American English.
Oh yeah, 100%.
On a totally different note, did you know that Americans don't all live in the suburbs? Nope, not true. The fact is that in America, you have plenty of people that live in cities like New York, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, and the list goes on. In fact, several regions of the United States are very European, like the Northeast Corridor, for example.
Oh, wait, yeah, I've seen that actually. So, like, a lot of, like, America's a big place, and it's so different across all of America.
Yeah.
They literally have places that look like Europe in America. And they've got, I seen the other week, they've got literally a German town. And if you didn't tell me it was America, I'd think it's Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks really, really... They celebrate Oktoberfest there and everything.
Well, like, we have German markets and things like that.
No, but German houses. German houses.
What?
Yeah, I'll have to show you a picture one day, but blew my mind. I'll have to find a video and you can watch it.
We've got American sweet shops now, haven't we?
No, but I mean, like, the whole place looked German. Like, the road...
whole street?
The whole neighborhood. So, like, the road layout, the shops, the buildings... Like, it looks German, and that's in America.
That's crazy.
Yeah, really cool.
The difference between the U.S. and Europe is that if you want to live in the suburbs in the U.S., you can, but you don't have to.
Right.
Now, this next one is just offensive. Americans are all dumb rednecks. While there are certainly Americans who fit this stereotype, the vast majority don't.
Right, that's
Most
just
Americans
population.
live in cities near the coasts. Most of them are educated. And most of them are not very different from Europeans in any significant way.
Nah.
Yeah.
Every country has a less educated populace that they themselves make fun of.
100%.
Even sophisticated nations like Sweden and Switzerland. Fair warning, the last 5 on our list get a bit dark and crazy, starting with the idea that America is imperialistic.
What does that mean?
In many parts of Europe, the United States is seen as an aggressive...
We're talking about a stereotype of Americans being dumb. We're like, what does that even mean?
imperial power, even more so than Russia and China. This is largely because our military presence both in Europe and everywhere else. But in our strong defense, Americans never forced you to watch our movies, quarter our soldiers, obey our laws, or get permission to leave your own countries. It was the Russians that did that, and much, much more. Food for thought, after World War II, the Americans liberated and left. The Russians liberated and stayed. All right, number 4 is sure to be a shocker to a lot of foreigners. Americans don't actually all walk around with guns. It's just not true.
What? There's no way.
Except for a few places, the only people you'll ever see carrying guns in America are the police.
Wait, so you're telling me I'm not going to go to Texas, walk into a bar, and they all don't have the cowboy hats and the guns on their hips?
But they can, though, can't they?
There is places in America where it's open carry. So, yeah.
But you have to have license still and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe some... See, every state's different.
Yeah.
So like, when you go to New York,
yeah,
you ain't going to see a gun on someone's hip.
Right.
But if you go to somewhere in Texas, maybe...
You probably will.
You might.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it depends.
In fact, you'll see more people walking around with guns in Switzerland than you ever would in America.
See, this is surprising me. Like, I need to see Switzerland.
Yeah, I think you do.
Are they all just walking around with...
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay.
Mad.
We admit that, like most stereotypes, there is some truth to this next one, but it's been wildly blown out of proportion. Americans are all crazy Christian right-wingers. There's something so right about saying it with that accent.
No, I don't
Yes, there are a lot of Christians.
See, I don't think that. The only time I see stuff that is crazy like this is like in movies and games when you see like cults.
Yes, in movies.
Right. But I wouldn't think of like that's America.
But the only information I've got is through movies.
Yeah, that's all of it.
But I don't
America.
think that. I don't think
And
that.
while some of them are crazy right-wingers, most of them aren't. In fact, if you ever get a chance to go and stay with one of those crazy Christian families, you'll see that most of them are just genuinely sweet people that go to church on Sundays.
Right.
This next one sounds like a legit stand-up joke. If you get injured and can't pay for it, you'll just die in the street.
Yeah, that's what
Many people in Europe think this is what...
That's what you thought.
Yeah, because it's insurance, and if you can't afford to pay for it,
they're just gonna leave it
happen?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose I understand why we think that, because you gotta pay for it.
Yeah, because they've got to. If they start helping you and you can't afford it,
So
then nobody will pay for insurance.
So you think like, what is? I think it's Dad.
Yeah.
So you think like when they're lying down on the floor,
Yeah.
dead, like bleeding out, the ambulance person is gonna go there and be like, "Oh, give me $5,000 to take you to the hospital."
Well, yeah, they're gonna have to show the papers, aren't they, for them to go to the hospital?
They just bill them. They just go in debt.
Yeah, but what if they can't afford to pay it?
Then they're in debt. They owe it. They forever owe it.
Well, that's not.
Yeah.
happens in America. As with most things that concern America, they're wrong. You can't be denied emergency medical care in the U.S.
There you go.
That would go against the Hippocratic Oath.
Right.
The difference
That
is
would go
that you get
against
a
human
bill in
rights.
the mail a few months later.
Oh no.
Of course, debt
Right.
is another issue, but let's get into that right now. Americans are all in debt. Actually, European citizens carry more debt than Americans.
That don't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all going in debt.
Yeah.
The average household debt in the US, OECD, is 113% of the household's income. In the UK, it's 156%. In Sweden, 173%. And in
Right.
Denmark, it's a whopping 305%.
What are they doing in Denmark?
What are some misconceptions about the US that you'd like cleared up? Or do you live in America and want to put a stereotype to rest? Let us know in the comments below.
Although the myth debunked.
Yeah, interesting. Some of it went over
Oh
the head,
yeah, but it will do
yeah.
because we're not there. So like the words like the imperial stuff, that's just like it's just
Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting. though.
we're simpletons, but yeah, no 25 myths debunked. Learned a little bit about America,
Yeah.
what they do, what they don't do. If you guys enjoyed this, leave a thumbs up. Let us know what you think in the comment section. If you want more mum videos, let us know as well. We'll see you all in the next one. Peace.